Landscaper helps you see the big picture. It helps you figure out who, what, where, and what they expect. What's the big picture? It is really, first, who are the end users, the persona? Secondly, what do they use, the entities? Thirdly, where do they use, the environment? And fourthly, what do they expect, the attributes? Let's look at each of these in a bit of detail. A persona is really a human end user who will use the system via a GUI or a command line interface. It could be like somebody like an administrator, a student, a supervisor, and so on, in the end users of a system. Or it could be a system that will use the current system via an API or a message or a data. Now, what's an entity? An entity could be, firstly, an early stage structural component like a screen or an API. Or it could be, secondly, a basic usable technical feature like create a new user, upload content into the learning management system. Or at a slightly higher level, it could be a meaningful user requirement like going through all the lessons in a course, taking a final assessment. Or finally, at the highest level, it could be a useful business flow, like going through the course and take the final exam and do the assessment. So an entity could be any of these four things: component, feature, requirement, or flow. What's an environment? An environment is a set of various elements that is hardware or software, like a front end, back end, middleware, devices, connections, and what they could be. For example, an element called OS could have values like Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS, and so on and so forth. There could be multiple elements like OS, browser, and devices. A combination of all these values is really the environment. What's an attribute? One or more non-functional requirements that are expected to be met. Could be a migration requirement or performance requirement, and so on. So what are some useful tips to have while doing landscaping? One, start with the who first, which could be a human or another system. Number two, see the features from a product angle, the requirements from a user angle, and flows from a business angle. And lastly, guess the attributes that they may be expected and then refine. Everything will not be told clearly. So how does the landscaper screen look like? Well, it's got these various sections of persona, entities, environments, and attributes, which allows you to think through and capture this information and use it as you go.